You don't want to answer my shit.
Dude,
I ain't
hold
answering
up.
yours.
The Pestily just dropped. Do we have to watch that? How long is it? An hour
Don't
24.
care. Free
I'm
content.
watching it. Pestily interviews NIKITA. We have to watch it. Okay. So we're gonna work through this. Pestily interviewed NIKITA. He asked people for questions. People gave him a bunch of questions. He filtered through those questions. Okay. After filtering through those questions, he had a list. He brought NIKITA the list. He asked him many questions. NIKITA answered those questions, kind of. He didn't answer many of them, but we're going to get into that. So the thing is, I have spoken to NIKITA a few times. In my experience with NIKITA, his job is basically just like managing everything. So he'll tell people to fix something, or maybe think he does, but then he doesn't, or they don't do it, and then he thinks that they're going to do it because he told them to, and then they don't. So like BSG's biggest problem, in my opinion, from being around them and just, you know, seeing this game develop, is that their communication in between all their teams with all the leaders of the development teams and all that is like non-existent. It's not there. The biggest example that we'll get into in a second, but we'll just go through chronologically. I took notes when I watched this hour-and-a-half long video if you guys don't want to watch it. And just go over that. There was a lot of yapping in the beginning. Throughout the whole thing, I don't know. I don't think Pestily was nervous, or I don't think he'd be nervous. There's no reason to be nervous. It was I mean, you'll probably end up watching it anyways. You'll see. It's just, he kind of like rambled a lot and didn't ask anything directly for a lot of it. Then he kind of opened up later in the end of it. But they claim that they read Reddit posts when people leave you know, like detailed posts about things they want changed or just venting and stuff. They say they see all this stuff, but part of me thinks that that's kind of BS because of some later stuff. They want to give us more information development, roadmap, stuff like that. They said they're interested in doing that it needs to happen. We'll see. Pestily suggested they add like RuneScape polls, and then said that it'd be fine even if they didn't do anything with the information and they were useless. So thanks for the idea, Pestily. I'm sure that'll be in and they will do nothing. That's awesome. They said this year they're working to polish the game for full release. That's their biggest focus. There's going to be a wipe in the summer and then a wipe in the end of the year. BSG has a track record of doing everything as late as possible in timeframes that they give us, if they stick to those timeframes. If I had to guess, I'm just speculating, nobody knows, I would say like July, August. It'll be a long wipe, this one, and then like a shorter wipe for the second half, then they'll wipe around New Year's. They always do the drops for New Year's, so I'm sure that they will definitely drop a wipe before New Year's as well. So one summer, one end of the year. This year is more about inner stuff, storyline quests for main release, prestige system they're working on for main release, and then polishing. They said they're going to do a Tarkov TV soon, he said, who knows when, with a new roadmap for the year. The maps will be connected in final release, but it won't be open world. So I'm assuming like once you extract from a map, you'll have the choice of going to another map, or maybe like dropping some stuff off first, maybe send some stuff back with scavs or whatever, and you go to the next map. Not sure entirely how that's going to work, but it's not going to be open world like DayZ or anything like that. When the game drops fully, you'll have your main account without wipes, and then you'll also have seasonal accounts that wipe, and then the prestige system. So he said once you do all the quests and escape Tarkov through the terminal or whatever the new map, you will get a prestige point, and then you'll earn cool stuff for doing so. There's another trader they're adding into the game, they said, eventually, who knows when. The new trader will use a different currency. They're linking Arena and EFT, but you know, who cares is what I wrote down. The map terminal will be a single player mission. So essentially, I'm assuming you'll do all the quests, go to extract, and then you're just leaving Tarkov. It's like a single player little thing. Maybe you kill a boss, so you have a final boss fight, and then you leave. Is what it's more like a cutscene kind of thing rather than a actual map you're going to be queuing. Clans, there's gonna be like a clan thing, and they're gonna do a hideout thing with clans, but it's gonna be DLC you got to buy after 1.0. I'm assuming DLC will be free for EOD holders. Pestily asked about the uncon state and then the use of the defib. He said someday we'll see. It seems like they're not going to do it. Lockpicking also seems like something. He basically said that they have all of this stuff kind of finished, but they don't know if it's going to be buggy, so they're not really going to do them. So maybe eventually. He said there's a new boss they're doing that he wants to have booby traps and mines, which is great. PMC Karma, they're going to secretly add it, and it's going to be confusing. He said he doesn't want people to understand how it works. Something along the lines, if you're like exit camping, you're going to have bad karma, and then there's a new boss that's a bounty hunter that's going to hunt you down if you have low karma. I'm hoping it's not something like, you just lose karma for killing people, because that would suck. Because then what? Or like killing your own faction or something, because that would suck. But if they find a way to actually make it kill extra campers, that'd be kind of cool, but we'll see. The Unity update, which is like the framework for the game. If you guys don't know what Unity is, it's the engine that the game runs on. It essentially just helps them develop things faster. It might give us a little bit better performance, but it's just more so for them than us, and they can, you know, implement better anti-cheat, stuff like that, that's more current than the one that they have. They said it's this year for sure. It's not going to give us good performance upgrade. It's really difficult to do that because they have like spaghetti code from the past. Microtransactions, there's more clothing coming in April. That's it for now. They're going to add more clothing. They're not going to do any boosters, any equipment. You can't buy money, nothing like that. There will be a new version of the game that you can buy that will be better than EOD, he said. Better than EOD. We'll eventually be able to buy new characters on one account, eventually to have like a hardcore character, I guess. Then he got into asking about cheaters, and this is when it shifted. I mean, objectively, it shifted from more of a Q&A to a just like pestily saying things that people were commenting, and NIKITA just sitting there and not answering anything. There's going to be so many no comment things coming up. This is when it got kind of, it's like, what is going on? NIKITA basically said it's not that easy. They're planning to have more stuff for the cheaters, he said. Then he corrected himself and said he means like for the anti-cheat. They're going to test a lot of things on Arena first and then put it in EFT, which is kind of funny. People don't understand how it works, blah, 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 blah. They have access and they've looked into more invasive anti-cheat, but they said it will drop FPS too much to implement. And I'm torn here because dying to cheaters is terrible, but so is having 30 FPS. So honestly, make the FPS better, add that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need better anti-cheat. Like, it depends what they mean by dropping FPS, because some people can barely even play the game as is on decent computers. I have like top of the line computer, and I still don't like playing Streets sometimes because the frames suck so bad. And I have like the best PC on the market, which is insane. They already have mobile phone authorization for certain regions, but it doesn't work because people just use like the, you know, they buy the virtual SIM cards, all that stuff, Google Voice, all that. They already added a way to report people without dying to them. They talked about that before they put the patch out this week. So you can already report people from the flea, all that stuff. Then, oh my, this part made me so mad. This part made me so mad. Pestily asked about the bulk account sales, which is where you can go and buy, or you can say you buy 2 accounts, you pay full price. But if you buy 4 or more at a time, you save money. It's a deal. It's like a bulk discount. Pestily asked about that, and then NIKITA was confused of what he was asking. Then when Pestily clarified, he said, "Oh, I see." Scratched his ear, and then that was it. That was it.
No, because when you go to buy Escape from Tarkov, you can buy 4 accounts for a discount.
Bulk. Yes, I see. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
There's a few people asking.
Oh, I see. Like what? So then he was asking about suing cheaters, and he said it's possible, but it takes too long and doesn't really do anything, which makes sense. The kill cam in the main game is possible, like in Arena, but they're not going to do it because it takes too much work. It would take them months, and it's just pointless. Compensation when you die to cheater. So like, say you die to a cheater, they get banned. Getting your gear back just takes too much time, essentially, is what I'd assume he'd say, and it's not something they'd be focused on adding. But Pestily just went on like a whole rant, and then NIKITA never answered, so it was more of a statement than a question. Achievements. Can tracksuit be persistent throughout wipes? He said it's possible. Time to load into the raid. NIKITA said we're going to try to make it faster. They're working on new players tutorials. I think they just dropped the first one of these. I didn't watch it. I'm not a new player. So this is where basically Pestily goes on, like, he just starts listing things. There's a couple more things for coming up, but then Pestily just starts listing things, and NIKITA doesn't really answer anything. He said setting lasers and optics up before raid. He just said like maybe, like, he didn't really say anything. He was just acknowledging that he heard him. Armor hitboxes, he said, will be more predictable, which is good. And fragmentation confirmed. This is the first I've heard him say that. Confirmed will be completely removed, which is huge. I've been saying this since this wipe started. Honestly, I've been saying this forever. Fuck fragmentation. I'm glad it's gone, or will be gone. Hopefully they don't forget about that and actually do it. Pestily brought up how like head recoil, aim punch, all that is too much. NIKITA said they're not going to remove it because he doesn't like how it looks without it. It's really low already. He'll look into it and see if they can lower it more. He mentioned that Pestily mentioned that Veritas and I were talking about inertia and how it needs to be lower, or something in some video that we did like forever ago. He said we will check. Audio occlusion zones and audio pop from players is a binaural bug and game breaking. And the craziest part about it is, well, okay, so So he was talking about the audio pop. So when you're near a player, you'll get like if you have binaural audio on, you'll get a random pop. Like you'll know that there's a player near you. That's what that means. And it's like a game-breaking bug. Nikita mentioned that that's a bug with binaural audio. And then Pesky was like, yeah, I think it is. And then he didn't say anything further on it. So that's a really game-breaking thing I hope they fix. I am glad that he knows it exists, but that's wild. He doesn't know how close they are to the new audio. He doesn't know what's being done about it currently. He said to look into it. Why do headsets have different ranges? Pestily asked. Nikita said that they don't have different ranges, but it's compression that makes it seem like you can hear better. And Pestily said, I for sure have tested them. The distances are different. And I agree, the distances are 100% different. You hear further with different headphones. I think it's dumb. I don't think it should be a thing, but Nikita said we can balance this. I'll look into it. And then Pestily brought up the zero audio bug when you're crouch walking. So when you're crouch walking at the slowest speed, you don't make any audio. It's a bug. And the crazy thing is, Apple is their like community representative, told Rengar, I think, and a couple other streamers that was intended. It's not a bug at all. It's intended. And we all just assumed it was intended. So Pestily asked Nikita about it, and Nikita said, oh, that's still in the game. I thought we fixed it a long time ago. But that's like been one of the #1 things that people complain about. The fact that he said in the first question, he said that they read the Reddit post, they listen to the feedback and stuff. If people have been complaining about this for literally over a year now, and it's been in the game the entire time, there's no way that they're actually reading that stuff, or anybody that can do something about it is reading it, in my opinion, but who knows. Pestily said looting's too loud, and then he told him about the boss's packet loss thing, which is like the only bug in this game that I've ever liked, because it helps you know if the bosses are in the raid, because the spawn rate is already so low. So yeah, so essentially, like most maps, a couple seconds into the raid, if you get packet loss, it means the boss doesn't spawn. If you don't get it, it means the boss did spawn. They said they're looking into it and it will be fixed, so sad. But if he thinks they fixed the audio and shit and all that from so long ago, maybe they'll think they fixed it, and they do. Pestily said boss spawn rate being so low sucked. Nikita didn't comment. Streets is a scav map. Essentially, like, there's no point in running a PMC on Streets because all the loot's in the filing cabinets, blah, blah, blah. It's a player scav ran map. He didn't comment. Pestily said something about how the scavs can see through bushes. And then Nikita talked about how it's like spheres and geometry. If they fixed it, it would ruin the server performance because they'd have to like do everything so small and all that. But he said the options are keeping it how it is basically, or making the scavs dumber, and then they'd be like easily abused, which I'd prefer than getting killed by shotgun scavs through the bushes. They talked about Ground Zero having separate matchmaking for high levels. They already implemented that since recording. They talked about it, fog and like interchange lighting. It already got fixed. They can't do ray tracing or anything because of the graphic engine limitations. Pestily asked about a level lock on labs. He didn't comment. He asked about optics, magnification, like if you can adjust LPVOs rather than just like 1 or 6 in between 1 and 6, like smooth adjustment. He didn't comment. Said they're adding some new stuff and some DLC to the hideout eventually. Hideout cat soon, maybe microtransactions eventually. He asked about Wall of Fame for collector items. No comment. Says so Pestily essentially goes through here. He says, but Nikita does not respond to any of these. He asked if they're going to add more clothing to Ragman. It's funny because there's all these questions that I'm actually interested in, and he doesn't say anything. So then he said, are you going to add more clothing to Ragman? He said, that's the plan. Like, what the fuck? Something about finding key cards from quests, kind of like the Colleagues Part 3 with Therapists. He doesn't really care about any of the new guns coming because there's already a lot. Pestily lists a bunch of guns. Nikita kind of just doesn't really care. Just stuff that Pestily or people would want in the game. Nikita literally could not care any less in watching it, for sure. He wants more mid-tier MVGs, smoking cigs and vaping. He didn't comment on any of that. Nikita did say there's a new belt fed coming soon, probably next wipe or something, but he doesn't know which one. Pestily said they should add an Alaska server and increase ping limit kick on South America because some people from the continent still can't play on it. They're not interested in earning money from like private server events and stuff, but certain one-off things like maybe a hardcore event Pestily's trying to do, they could definitely arrange. It takes too much work to do stuff like that and to open it up for more people. For events, they have a whole list, then they like eliminate stuff that they think stupid or too much work. The holiday events kind of get repeated. They change them a little bit. Pestily suggested a USEC versus Bear competition, more cultist events. He didn't care. Biggest tech limitations, Pestily asked. He said visual and graphical optimization. The game is too big and they didn't know certain core things going into when they made the game and what they need to know in the future that they know now. They wish they could have gone back and changed things. Like old spaghetti code, their engine sucks. Unity sucks, which is their engine. And the more stuff they add, the more stuff they have to test, and then they have to repeat that every patch. But he talks about how much work they have to do in testing every patch, but playing the game, there are so many bugs that happen every patch that it's like, to me, I don't develop games, but to me, it's like, if they tested the patches, there's no way they could have released some of this stuff. They straight up reverted a patch that they did a few months ago because the game was entirely unplayable. Nobody could play. It was so bad. The frames were so bad. Everything was so unplayable. They had to revert it for the first time ever. So it's like, if you tested them at all, how in the fuck did that happen? I'm just ranting a little bit, but yeah. They said closing the game and building it for 6 months like people suggest is impossible. It wouldn't make any sense. We will overcome it with time and working management solutions. They said their goals are to, in the next 2, 5, 10 years, release the game, the DLCs for the game, make a new game, something with candies and real dogs. They're working on releasing a Tarkov API. He told somebody to do it, but they haven't done it yet. They're talking about doing like a mobile hideout check. I don't know if you'll actually be able to craft, which would be kind of sick if you could, but I doubt they'd do that. That'd be sick if you could just hideout craft. I've been saying hideout mobile app forever. I need it. I would actually craft if I could do hideout stuff. They're going to add like the rogue equivalent for bears, but it's not going to be Black Division. That's something different. He does not fuck with peanut butter. They don't eat that in Russia. They eat Tashanka and condensed milk. He has tested peanut butter and jelly, and it is good, but we don't eat it here. He said smoking is bad, and don't drink or play too much. Go outside, see what's going on outside, and immediately come back inside. So it seemed like Pestily was... He's not... You know, Pestily is not Tucker Carlson. You know what I mean? Like, it's not his job. He did his best. I'm sure Nikita didn't really do him any favors, the whole thing. It wasn't much of an interview, more so as like... It was like therapy almost. It was like Nikita was the therapist and Pestily was the patient. Just straight up, not really answering much. But there was a couple cool things in there, like the app, the fact that he didn't even know that the audio zero crouch thing wasn't fixed yet. Like, how the fuck did you not know? So yeah, so I don't know. It seems to me, man, that Nikita's kind of just over it. He's managing everybody. He's pretty hands off with most of it at this point. He's just kind of over it. He wants everything to work and be good, and he wants to fucking move on, live his life. He's getting older. He just wants to chill, you know? Which I don't blame him, but yeah, he's kind of out. It seems like all the development teams are kind of out of touch with each other. Hopefully they do something to remedy that. I think full release for this game would be massive though. It goes on Steam, all that. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. Maybe you guys picked up on something that I didn't, so let me know if you did, but I feel like I did pretty good with the note taking. Yeah, that's that. That was kind of interesting.